record. What we're going to be talking about today is online event marketing, specifically on LinkedIn. Now, there's more to the strategy outside of LinkedIn, but this is specifically dealing with LinkedIn. So can everybody see my screen here?
Yes, indeed.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so here it is. Let's do it. And if you do have questions, I do ask for you to save them to the end, just because it is kind of a detailed and lengthy strategy here. Okay, let me minimize my window. All right, so LinkedIn event strategy, how to get 1,000+ attendees to your events. So before we jump into it, I want to talk about the benefits of LinkedIn events. So a lot of people here use LinkedIn, and how a lot of people tell you to use LinkedIn is like this. Oh, connect with somebody on LinkedIn and then send them either unsolicited advice, meaning value. I call it unsolicited advice. Or they say, what do they say? Send them like a pleasantry. Hey, how you doing? Or something kind of funny. I don't like that. That's not a good place to start. Why I like events is because when you invite somebody to an event, it's very non-invasive. You're just inviting them to an event. It's not you're sending them a direct message asking them to schedule a one-on-one meeting with you, right? And even if you're sending a message about something else, people kind of know what's up with your message, right? So, hey, I'm just inviting you to a free event. It's a great way to gauge. And then if they accept it, it's a great way to gauge their interest. Oh, they accepted my event invite. Well, then they must be interested in what I'm doing. This is a potential prospect. The second, or I guess the third reason is social proof and social pressure. So when you're in one of my events and one of my events has 50 people in the room, what does that say about me and my business? It says I know something about at least marketing an event. What if I have an event with one person at it? Well, that says my business maybe isn't that good, or maybe I'm not that serious, right? So if you have a big event like this one here, right? What does it say about Diana? You know, who's running the meeting? So she runs a good event, so she has people show up week after week. It gives, and then social pressure, right? If everybody in the room is watching my presentation, they're all nodding their heads and saying, wow, this is great, right? That's going to have an impression on other people, and it's going to maybe move them more towards buying, right? So some great benefits there. Okay. Here are events that I've run in the past. This one had over 1,000 people sign up for attendance. This one has another, has 1,000. This one also has 1,000 people signed up. So these are big events that I run, and I've generated over $26,000 running these type of online events. And this presentation is going to go over these three things: how to set up your LinkedIn event, basic LinkedIn event strategy, and then my secret LinkedIn event strategy. Ooh, secret. Okay. But it's true, it is a secret strategy. I haven't taught it for over a year. Okay, so this is, like I said, this is very basic how to create your LinkedIn event. So if you weren't aware, you scroll down a little bit, you'll see your events tab. You click on the plus sign to create an event. You want to upload a cover image. A cover image is really important, guys. Make sure it's 9 or 16 by 9. That's just your standard, computer screen, aspect ratio, but make sure to add a great cover image. If you are going to be hosting your event online, which everyone here should, in my opinion, make sure to check online. And then under your event format, where it says event format, make sure to click external link. Now, some people like to do LinkedIn audio events. I don't know if those are great for sales presentations. I actually will say they're probably not. And then LinkedIn Lives. I just have more control from like a Zoom room. I'm more comfortable with Zoom. So I do it on Zoom. So that's why I do external link. Yep. Give your event a name. Mine is, for this event, I did Creator Networking, where Creators Connect. It's a networking event that I run. Okay, for your time, guys, this is important. Only make your event 1 to 2 hours long. I see some people making an event that's like all day. That's a big mistake. The reason is because they'll create this really long Google Calendar, thing. If you make it multiple days, it will like block out 3 days of their entire Google Calendar. That's not what you want. You just like want 1 hour, okay? For your external link, so that's where you're going to put your Zoom room. So in your external link, put your Zoom room. Then give it a description, okay? I put very blatantly, this is a free online networking event for creators and when it's held, and then a little bit about the event. And then you can put your speakers down here. So me and Mark Perone and Sharon Miller and Greg Goshorn all do an event together called H7 Tech Corner. I have all of us as speakers on that event. Yep. So that's, like I said, that's the basic way to just create your events. Then click next. Okay, then it'll just basically say, hey, you've created this event, and then you can promote it in a post. So I just copy and paste the description of my event here for my post. Okay. Now, once you've created that event and created your post for that event, if you want to find that event for the sake of like inviting people to it, which is really important, you would scroll down, click on events. You can find that event here, or if you click on show all, it'll take you a list. It'll take you to like a list of all the different events that you signed up for or are hosting or have created. You can always just click on show all, and it'll show all your different events. Okay. So we'll go ahead and click on our event. Now, guys, we created the event. Guys, if you just create an event on LinkedIn and you don't invite anybody to it, you might as well not even hold the event. So you have to invite people to it. Most people don't. Maybe because they just don't know about it, but you have to invite people, okay? So to invite people, we click on share, and then we click on invite. And that will take us to this screen. Now, you can only invite people to your events if you're connected with them, if you're a first degree connection. Now, you can do this within groups. You can share it to groups, or if you have a group, but we're just saying basic level. If you don't have a group, or you haven't, just basic level, everybody here can do it. If you click invite, you can invite people who you are connected with on LinkedIn, your first degree connections, okay? So I can go over here to one of these boxes, and I can check on the box, and you see it has selected over here, right? Selected here, and then I can click invite, and that will send to this person and invite to the event. Now, you can invite 1,000 people to your event per week. This is super important, guys. This is kind of like the whole strategy right here. You can invite 1,000 people to an event per week, okay? So by going and clicking one by one on these people, it's going to take a while. And I've done it. I've sat there and I've clicked 1,000 people. Okay, there's a faster way to do it though, okay? If we select a category from up here on top, like let's say we selected location, we click on location, and then we select the category United States. What's going to happen is there's going to be a box that appears next to our categories. And then what we can do is hit that box, and it will auto select that category, a lot of people all at the same time. So we don't have to go and click 170 people. We can just kind of quickly invite people by utilizing the categories. Okay, so that's kind of the basic invite strategy. Here's our event page. It's kind of pointing out. So here's where that Zoom event link is, and here's where our attendees list is, okay? So this is where we're getting into more of the secret strategy, okay? The secret strategy, okay? So remember we said you can invite 1,000 people per week per account. Okay, so what if we had more accounts? Well, then we could maybe invite more people. So if this is, like I said, this is my secret strategy. If I was to have an event, I would schedule the event 3 weeks out. Why? So I could invite 3,000 connections, because I can invite 1,000 people per week. So you guys have to grow your LinkedIn connections. A lot of you chilling at 500 connections, you're not even going to have a week of invites, right? So like I have 6,000 invites. I could start an event 6 weeks out and invite all 6,000 of my connections, right? So grow your connections for the purpose of inviting people to events. Okay. So this is where, what if we had multiple accounts? What if we teamed up with 2 other people to promote an event? Well, then we could invite, 9,000 people. Right? So, and you have to be kind of coordinating with these accounts in a specific way to make this work. But you guys understand that how we can invite more people by having more accounts, right? Okay, cool. So like I said, this is kind of why you need to grow your follower count and your connections. Oh, this is funny. My links done. My Calendly presentation is deteriorating. Okay, this isn't the best thing ever. Let's see here. We're going to do this. Some of the images that I used on my Canva presentation are glitching, so I have to bring up a YouTube video with the presentation on it. So bear with me.
Let me fill a little time here with this kind of in testimonial. What he's figured out on here is an enormous advantage if you can wrap your mind around it. I know he's going kind of quick with it, and some of you may not be as prevalent on LinkedIn as others, but what we're talking about here, and I don't know if you detailed this or not, but I'm going to overemphasize it. Alex started doing this and got what? You sent out 1,000 invites and got 50 people to your first event. Second event was 120. Third event was, what's the latest number, let's say?
Yeah, I've had upwards to 220 people live on a presentation using this method. So imagine doing your sales presentation to a room of like 200 people, right? Like,
So let me add some gravity to what we're talking about. If you think about it, we've got what, 20 people in here right now, not even. And you go to a networking group to meet with 10, 15 people. If every 3 weeks you were scheduling an event where 80 people showed up and you were able to put a presentation together around something that you do, add a couple people to that event that could also be enticing, you're now exponentially affecting networking, marketing, and sales all within the same scope of one platform. This is not omni-channel marketing with like email campaigns and social media on LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. It's just one platform to get people that you know, and ultimately people that you don't know who have never heard of you, to an event that you're hosting every 3 weeks. This is a big ass deal. And this, if you don't learn it now, I promise you this is going to close. What he's teaching you right now takes a lot of effort to figure out, and LinkedIn will catch on to this very, very quickly. Last thing I'm going to say here is every leader in H7 that's associated with me in any kind of way where I have pull with them, Alex is teaching this strategy to them to get LinkedIn events created for their networking meetings. So keep that in mind. Like, this is a brand strategy for H7 right now. This is a big freaking deal.
Yeah.
It's fast and furious, but if you come to Tech Corner, he re-explains it a couple times a month, maybe once a month. It's a really, really cool thing. So don't have your hair blown back here. Definitely hang on tight, okay?
Yeah.
Well, I also said, if Alex is okay with it, I'll be able to distribute this recording so people can slow it down and take it step by step.
Sam.
Okay, so go ahead.
Sam, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do. But I'm wondering if we should wait till later. But one thing I'm thinking of using LinkedIn events for is to get more viewers for the shows on our network. And so we do an RMTP stream into our page, our Talk Radio NYC page on LinkedIn. But like, how do I create an event? Because it's kind of like a LinkedIn Live. Like, how do I create an event?
Yeah, we'll wait on that question. That's kind of a more detailed question specifically for your bit. So that would, you might want to schedule a one-on-one with me. Okay.
You got it. Thank you so much.
So we did a lot there. Okay. So we went over how to create our event and how to invite people to our event, right? That's really like such a big key right there. Okay. It's so simple, but most people will create an event one day before the event and they won't invite anybody. And they're like, why did my event grow? Like, you didn't invite anybody, dude. You got to invite people, right? So we're inviting people. How do we invite more people? Well, we can just have additional accounts, right? So let me give you kind of an overview of the strategy and why it's so effective, okay? So everybody knows on LinkedIn you have first degree connections, okay? Me and Mark Perone, first degree connection. That's like friends on Facebook, right? So that's really important that you guys understand this, okay? First degree connections. Now there's another type of connection on, sorry, like I said, I'm using a YouTube presentation now. So on LinkedIn, there's also something called a second degree connection. So this gentleman here is a second degree connection. He's friends with one of my friends, but I'm not friends with him. He's like a friend of a friend, right? So maybe Mark is connected with him, but I'm not. He would be called a second degree connection. Does everybody understand that? That's really important. Okay, sorry, my calendar's popping up here. Okay. Okay, so there's second degree connections. On LinkedIn, there's also something called a third degree connection. So this person is not Mark Perone's friend. They're not my friend. They're not a friend of a friend. They're completely outside of my network. That's called a third degree connection. Okay, this is a really important concept to understand, a third degree connection. So what me, Sharon, Mark Perone, and even Greg Goshorn, but for this example, we're only using 3 accounts. What we're 3 doing together is we're building connections with third degrees. Okay, why? Well, when we are growing our LinkedIn channel, right? This is what we want to do. We want to send out invitations in different directions. Okay. We want to send out invites to connect with people with third-degree connections, not second-degree connections, because those people are already within my network. Those people are already friends of friends. So what a lot of people do is this. They'll do this. See, these are all of our second-degree connections. And because they're second degree, we're like, oh, those are great because they're in our network. But what happens is we actually don't expand out into new networks. All those second degrees just become first degrees, and we end up inviting all the same people to all the same events. Do you guys see how that happens? So it's essentially like we have H7, right? And H7 is the small community in relation to the size of online communities, right? If we only add people from H7 and we're all adding H7 people, then we're just all inviting H7 people too. And we never actually get out of our network. And it just becomes this, everybody pass the buck to the left type of thing, right? So what we want to do is create third-degree connections, meaning people outside of our network, outside of Mark's network, outside of everybody in the room's network. And so, we talk about how to grow third-degree connections, but on LinkedIn, you'll see there's first-degree connections, second-degree connections, third-degree. You should be coordinated with other people that you're working together in business with to gather third-degree connections in a specific niche. Okay, so there's a lot to be said about it, but that's kind of the general idea, right? So we're growing third-degree connections, and then guess what? Those third-degree connections all have second-degree connections and and first-degree connections. And so it's just a method of using social media and not connecting with all the same people. Okay, I call it like sending out planes in different directions. So what a lot of people do is, let's see if I can find it here. They'll do this. They'll all send planes in the same direction, meaning they'll all just add second-degree connections, and then you all end up with the same audiences. What we're doing is we're sending out ships or planes in different directions, so we reach different audiences. Okay, and then what we're doing is we're just going to the same invite. We're all speakers on this event. We're using 1, 2, 3 accounts, and we're inviting them all to one singular event. And since Mark has 6,000, 10,000 connections, Sharon Miller has 1,000, it'd be 3,000 from here, 3,000 from here, 1,000 from here. But we still invited 7,000 people to a single event. But the big reason of why we're adding those third-degree connections is we're sending out 1,000 unique invites per account per month, instead of sending out 1,000 invites, but we send 3 of the same invites to one individual H7 member, right? So a lot to be said about this strategy.
How do you invite a third-degree connection? They don't show up on the list. You said the only people that show up on the list are first degree.
Yeah, this is a big problem of confusion for people, because there's 2 things that you have to do for this strategy, okay? You have to build your connections on LinkedIn. That's number 1. You have to build your connections. You cannot invite 1,000 people if you do not have 1,000 connections. So this is a big bottleneck for people. If you have not been building your connections on LinkedIn and you have 200 connections, the strategy is not going to work for you. You have to have accounts, multiple accounts with thousands of followers each, or thousands of connections each, because you can only invite first-degree connections. Or there's a method to use groups, but we're not talking about that right now. Tabitha.
So, okay, so you bring up a very good point. If we have to grow our network in order for us to have the numbers that are going to support the event, the outcome that we're looking for. So, are we just inviting people in our network to be our connections, or are we inviting anyone? Because I think I've been very specific about who I invite to join my network, and that might be one of my bottlenecks.
That's a great question. Honestly, I take the method of inviting everybody. I don't even care if the event isn't for them, because if they click sign up for that event and they're an attendee of that event grows. LinkedIn will show your event. If somebody clicks attend to your event, they will actually show that event to their network and say, Mark Perona is attending Alex Hitt's event. And then as that attendance count rises on that event, it will actually rank higher among LinkedIn's events too. So an event that has 100 people attending is going to get more exposure on LinkedIn than an event that has one person attending.
So that's how you get the second and third connections. You're not actually inviting second and third connections because you can't see them on your list. But as people sign up for your event and as they share the event on their feed, you're getting to their connections, and that's how the second and third see it. Okay, I understand now.
Essentially, yeah, yeah. I mean, there is some kind of intricacy that you kind of need to do to like realize how all these things are fitting together. But yes, essentially by doing this method where we'll just show it one more time.
Hey, Alex, can I interject something here? This is
Yeah,
Jojo.
let me just finish this point here.
Yeah.
So when we're sending out our connections, instead of going to LinkedIn, and when I'm going to add somebody, like if I search for a realtor, okay, so this person right here is a second degree connection. This person right here is a second degree connection, meaning that they're friends of friends, right? Well, they're kind of already in my network. I don't need to add those people. They might add me just through knowing my connections. I want to click on third degree and I want to find people who are completely outside of my network. And I have a big network, so you see that even a lot of these are second degree, but these people are third degree. So I probably want to connect with those people more than I want to connect with the second degree because this person already knows this guy. So I'm going to invite this guy to the event and then maybe this person will see it, right? But it's also a method if you're adding connections that you're not overlapping the connections that you're adding. So like me and Mark Perone aren't sending out all the same invites. You know, so there's a couple different, essentially it's preventing that everybody from just being within this circular community and never getting out of it. So, sorry, go ahead, Jojo.
Yeah, this was going to be what you're talking about. So you're saying that you type in the search what you're looking for. In this case, you were looking for realtors. You're not using the all filters tab. You're just using the search to put the profession that you're looking for, and then you connect. However, can you also do the search and then go to the all filters and use it that way? Or
Why would you want to?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
I don't
I'm
know.
asking you. That's the question.
No, just do it my way.
So you're saying you put the word, who you're looking for, the profession in the search, and then you connect to the third connections, period.
Period.
That's it. Okay, very good. All right,
That's it.
thank you, Alex. This is fantastic.
You're welcome. Some bottlenecks. So I have a presentation that I'm actually doing tomorrow. So this strategy is super, super effective. There's other things that I do outside of just LinkedIn. There's other platforms. But I do have in this presentation some numbers associated with how effective these events are. Like Mark said, you know, kind of give a hint. So here are some events that I've run in the past. 1,000 attendees, 1,000 attendees, 1,000 attendees, multiple ones with 500, 400, 500, 600, 500, right? So I run these a lot. Here are some real numbers. So each event generates between 700 and 1,100 leads, right? Out of that, 10 to 20% actually will attend the event. So out of the 1,000 people who signed up, between 100 and 200 will show up live. Out of that, 10 to 30% will actually book a time, another sales call on my calendar. And from this event, 10 to 20% actually close from the event live. Okay, now it depends. So that would lead to about 13 sales for me per event, which is how I made $26,000 off these events in 2021. Some of the problems though that you guys are going to experience, events are great, right? So you're going to definitely have a problem promoting the event. You're going to have a problem keeping their attention, right? A big thing that people really mistake when they're doing a LinkedIn event, they have a 60-minute long presentation. They wait till minute 59 to actually tell them that they sell a product. Huge mistake. Okay, you have 10 minutes max to capture those people's attention, to keep them on the call. Otherwise, they're jumping, maybe 5 minutes. So I even do a product introduction about 10 minutes in. It's a very tight presentation. You you're going to have trouble, creating a great presentation, selling your product, right? Being a good salesperson, scheduling meetings afterwards and following up. And so that's one of the things that I'm helping people do is, one, I'll walk them through, like, this is a service that I'm actually providing now, is helping you promote, post, manage, create, follow up, do appointment setting for your LinkedIn event. So the strategy is pretty complicated. Other things that you run into is connection invite limits. On LinkedIn, you only get a certain number of connection invites per month, or actually per week, per week. So, I've been doing this strategy and growing my LinkedIn profile for years, right? So like I said, you need to be growing your connections. People say, why would I just send out random connection requests? So you can invite them to your event. Right?
So I'm going to interject there just a little bit. Tabitha, for what you're doing, it makes more sense to have a specialized audience. For Alex, it's going to be general LinkedIn connections may be good because people on LinkedIn can use his strategies, right? So I would, just my own 2 cents on this. I've done it both ways, and I find that the more focused your audience is on the message that you could send, the better off you're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I hit like 8,500 connections on LinkedIn and realized that about half of those were truly worthless.
Yeah.
Great to say I have that many, but I load them all into my CRM and I market to them and I see what happens to it. And the proof of interest and engagement and all that stuff has had me retool my strategy since 8,500 and actually become more focused on what I'm doing. I do have some influence now, though, because I have a platform and, it's a little different for me there. But I will say that I think in the long run, the more specific your audience is to what you do, the better off you are. If you
And I was just going to say, this is kind of a good use for your COIs. As Alex was saying, the more people you have hosting this event, like if Tabitha found someone else who does another service, like James Corbett would be a good one to present with you, Tabitha, because you both surround and sell to the same people, but you could both give different pieces of it so you could get more people into that event. But I will say, how he was typing in realtor. Well, realtors all use social media, so they're all going to use Alex. Realtors are not going to be even remotely interested in cybersecurity. But out of the 7 million people that are on LinkedIn, I can just keep typing different technology roles in companies, and those are the people that I connect with. Now, if your service is available to anybody and everybody and anybody and everybody needs it, then absolutely go out there, invite the world. Just don't get put in LinkedIn jail, because that's a real thing. But if you sell to a specific type of person, there's a whole list of titles that go with who you sell to. Yeah. So for me, it's CTOs, CISOs, it's all of the people in and around tech and that C-suite. Out of 7 million people, I can find a couple thousand to put on my connections list to invite to this. So there is a certain amount of curtailing you can do to what Alex is talking about, whereas Alex is lucky enough that pretty much everybody uses some sort of social media. Everybody can use some sort of LinkedIn event for what it is they do, to teach people who they are, what they do, how they provide the service, and how awesome they are, like JoJo. And so by doing this, you can actually curtail who you're inviting, but also still have enough connections to make a really great event with 1,000 people in it.
Yeah, and that's where if you're targeting the same audience, that's where that third degree connection is really important. Because if everyone's targeting realtors and you're all adding second degree connections, that means you're just all adding the same realtors. So yeah, I think teaming up with your other fellow champions or your other people who have a similar audience is a super smart idea. Like me, Mark, Sharon, Greg, all working to promote Tech Corner. Yeah, really, really powerful. But the reason I wasn't teaching the strategy, because it is so powerful, but I realized, okay, there's kind of other ducks that you need in a row too. You need a great presentation, you need some sales ability, you need to follow up. Most people just never follow up, right? need a good product, right? So there's, like I said, there's some other things in there too that I do. Maybe just too much to go over, today. But we did do the strategy just for 1 week. We just did the strategy for 1 week within Tech Corner, and we had over 100 people sign up to attend the event. And this wasn't even inviting over, like none of us invited over 1,000 people. We didn't follow up. We only did it for 1 week ahead of time. We're gonna do one here for Tech Corner about 3 weeks out and use the strategy to its fullest, in 3 weeks, and then we'll kind of get a good test of how many people it does draw in.
We did have a lift. I mean, our
Mm.
average in Tech Corner is around 32 people weekly. And I think we had 4-ish new people that were not members that showed up and would not have even seen an advertisement from our particular meeting. And from our discussions, a marketing impression is somebody who says, I'll attend the event. So we actually got a confirmed 120 people that at least saw the event, even though they didn't attend. So,
And here's another big thing, guys, right? We talked about how you go about messaging people on LinkedIn. You either give them an unsolicited advice, value, or you give them a pleasantry, which they don't need and they don't have time for. Okay. My first message to somebody is, hey, you signed up for my event, just letting you know it's tomorrow. That's a reason to reach out to them. As opposed to the normal messages that you send, which there's no reason. You're like, hey, I want to sell you. And you're like, screw off. Hey, I have an event tomorrow that you signed up for. Oh, okay, my bad. I didn't mean to sign up for it. Or they say, oh, I can't actually attend. Okay, well, we have this one next month. Can you attend that one, or next week? Or, cool, I recorded it. Can I send you the presentation? That's my intro to somebody is, hey, you signed up for my event. I'm not reaching out for no reason. And then they're like, oh, like I said, I didn't mean to sign up for that event, or how, they don't know. So that's my in for people. Right. Do you guys think that would be a better first message for somebody than maybe what you guys been doing?
Tabitha, you're on mute.
Because I know.
I don't know if I need that kind of attitude in my life. Those words look very passionate.
Yeah.
No, I'm just like, I'm saying to myself, I'm like, I don't send messages. And because I don't know what to say to people.
Yep.
And I'm just an awkward individual sometimes. So sometimes I send out crazy messages. I think the crazier the message, the more likely they're going to be like, what the hell?
Right.
But this also tells you what to say. It gives you something to say to them. Hey, the event's tomorrow. Just a reminder that you signed up, and you can go through and do it that way. But it gives you a reason and it gives you a subject. Instead of being awkward, you have something to say. Or
after the event, hey, were you able to check out the event? We had like 100 people on the call. I don't know if I saw you there. A lot of people, if you have 1,000 people, oh, no, I wasn't. Cool, I got the recording. What's your email? I'll send it to you. And then send out like an Loom message so you can see if they actually watch the video.
Tabitha, if you had an event called Save the Kids and you focused it on people in schools, whether you got 0 people or 100 people there, whatever amount of people said they would attend, now you don't have to be crazy and awkward, because there's nothing crazy about saying, hey, noticed you didn't attend the event you said you were going to go to. Interested in having a conversation with you. Love to connect.
Right.
Thank you, Mark. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's the only kind I have.
Alec, I got a quick question for you. Alec?
All right. Yeah. My name's Alex, but yeah, go ahead.
Oh, Alex. I'm sorry. Got a quick question for you. What if you were talking about getting, let's say you have an event and you can only do 3,000 invites in 3 weeks. And then somebody else in that event who's also
hosting,
and then you have 3 people, and let's say you've got up to 9,000, 8,000, 9,000, invites for that event in 3 weeks. What about recruiting other people? What about training other people how to do 9,000 invites in that 3-week period? People like me would say, hey, I'd be all on board if there was a purpose for me to do that. Have you ever thought about creating events and then giving people training on how to do invites and then giving them a reason why they need to do that, like such as maybe a 5-minute introduction or 2-minute pitch or whatever it is, part of that event or something like that?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, that's a service I sell. You can pay me to help you run your event.
Oh, it's just that's
Promote it.
okay. Well, I was just
So-
thinking the co-oping, you create an event and you train people how to promote your event or someone else's event.
My thing
bigger
would
collective of
yeah, I would just say, why would they want to promote your event? They have 1,000 invites per week. They should use it for their own event, not your event. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you
So-
the reason why, because you can share the list that actually attends with the people that were there.
Yeah, you could.
Easy.
Yeah, it could be a big lead generator for like a large group of people for sure.
Well, especially if you've got somebody who's not charismatic, can't really do a
Right.
great presentation, but you sell to the same audience. I could see where they would help you out because there's a benefit in it for them. So
Right.
you could tell them how to do this and they could invite for you because they know they're not capable of doing a great event. And I know a
Yeah.
lot of people that are like, I can't do an event. I can't present. I'm not good at it. It scares me, whatever. And so that might work, but that's the only way I see that working
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody, like I said, I'm doing events. I've been doing events just like this. I mean, I do have affiliate offers on my stuff. It's kind of hard to track affiliates to an event though, right? Because it's like, how did this person get into the Zoom room? And if they buy on the Zoom room, how we trace that back to the affiliate or to the individual person in the event. You know what I mean? Because everyone's just in a big Zoom room. It's not like everyone has, oh, I'm Mark Barone's, lead. They all go into a Zoom room, you do a presentation, you drive traffic to a link, and they buy through that link. You're not going to have each, I've seen MLMs do this where they're like, break out into your room of who invited you, and then it's not as smooth. Steve?
I think I gathered from something you just said, the 1,000 invites per week. That's if I have 3 events on the horizon,
Mhm.
I don't get 3,000 invites, 1 per event. It's just a total of 1,000.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's why I do my events 3 weeks out, or I'm just, or these other events, maybe my goal is not to grow them massively. Maybe it's to grow more of an engaged community. And then I'm very particular. Like I have a creator networking event. I don't invite my entire network. I invite a select group of people because the goal of that meeting is not a sales presentation, it's to build a community. So when you do this method, it's going to be everybody and their mama showing up, you know what I mean? So you got to be kind of, it's probably not the best growing your network. I mean, it is if you just want to get a lot of people in the room, but yeah, maybe not for growing like the ideal community, right? It's probably not the strategy for that.
Alex, you can use forms for that credit thing. You could say who invited you on the form and just put the
Yeah.
first people in there.
Yeah. Yeah, there definitely would be a way to do it with other people. For sure.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions or comments for Alex?
Oh, I'm not on mute. This was great. I actually got some stuff, got some good stuff out of this and gives me definitely a direction to go into, and I can see where it would be very beneficial. So I do thank you very much.
Yeah, this is so much better than posting content on LinkedIn. It's so much better than cold messaging people on LinkedIn. Like that is just like, in my opinion, I don't even do that crap. Like it's a big waste of time.
This is amazing, Alex. I mean, this is just, this has blown my mind, and it's hard to blow my mind. Okay, people do not blow my mind on a basis. You have succeeded. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, if you guys want me to help
I
you run your
second that.
event, please share this, guys. One, I really need it. I really need your help and support. I haven't been sharing the strategy because it has been very effective, but I recently moved. I've been working for 2 months. This method is super effective. I'm looking to work with like 1 to maybe 3 people max this entire year to help them run events. So if you know anybody who, it has to kind of be a high ticket product because this method, guys, it is labor intensive. It's less labor intensive than cold messaging people and posting content on LinkedIn, but it does take effort and time and you know, and if you have a high ticket product, this could be a huge lead source and profit generator. Mark, were you
I
going
have
to
a
say
high
something?
ticket service, not a product, but a service.
For anything, it has, if you're looking to work with me, just because it is very labor intensive and I will like be doing the strategy with you. I'm just saying it's not like $100 and I'll help you grow your event. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
One sale needs to kind of cover the cost of the service. So
Really quick before Mark starts talking, I put the link in the chat to the share form. Please, please, please click on that link, fill it out, and hit submit. That's the important part. Click submit when you're done so that it comes to me. Go ahead, Mark.
So what I want to dovetail off of what he just said. All right, so let's revisit this concept real quick. The sea of 800 million people that are on LinkedIn is vast and gray. This 124 people that raise their hands to come called themselves out of the audience for us to show us that they're interested in what it is the event was about. Okay, so let's be clear about this. Even if the event fails, but all of these people call themselves out, I now have an audience that I can send a very specific message to.
yep.
We know every person that said, I'm interested in that topic, even if they didn't show up. So put on an event, have a few people come, and then look at all the people that signed up for the event. This is a list for you to market, and they're reaching out to you. You're not reaching out to them. That's an inbound interest.
Yeah. Number one benefit of growing the event, gauge interest. That was the first benefit of the event. Who is actually interested in what you're selling? So you're building your connections, and then your event is do you care about what I'm doing at all? Right. And if they do, well, great. Then you message them, hey, you signed up for my TikTok for Realtors Masterclass. And they're like, oh, shoot, I did. You're right. Another thing is I will actually link the event to show them that they did sign up for it. So I'll actually copy and paste the URL to the event. It will display in the message and will show that they have signed up to attend that event. So I'll actually say, not only thanks for it, but here's literally the event that you signed up for. Go check for yourself. I'm not just making this up out of the nowhere. Cool. Well, I made you, I gave you back host, and I did record it, so hopefully it records on your side. If not, I'll send it over to you. I did put the link in the chat here I did do a recorded presentation. It's a little bit cleaner. It goes through it all. Like I said, there are some problems that you'll run into, but if you're interested in me helping you out,
I've already bookmarked that link.
Cool. I'll put
All
my
right,
LinkedIn profile too. Thank you.
Does anybody have any events they'd like to talk about? Except for Tech Corner, that is on Thursday, where you can see the wonderful Mark Perone and Alex Hitt. And Tabitha, when is your meeting?
Wednesday, 1st and 3rd of every month, and we're education access strategies. That's where we will take strategies that we have used and give them to the other people in the room for them to be able to apply.
And then Hillary Dolby has a new meeting. Do you know when her next one is, Mark? I don't have her on my calendar yet. She has a meeting just for women.
Yeah, the she-suite.
Attention all women in the room. Sorry, gentlemen.
It is.
It's the same time we meet, Tabitha, so we might have to duck out early and go take in Hillary's new meeting.
I don't know when our new meeting is.
Okay, I'll find out for you guys and let you know, because it's every other week, and I think she had it last week, so it won't be this week. So next Monday, I'll have a specific date and time for all of you ladies out there, and we'll see if we can't get you into her event.
I got it. It's Wednesdays it's every other Wednesday at 4 o'clock. So it is on the virtual calendar.
Okay, so it's on the H7 virtual calendar. Check it out. Alex, we want to thank you very much for coming today and telling us all about your strategy for LinkedIn events. I know I'm going to start using it. And so we appreciate you very much. And with that, everyone have a wonderful week. And Mark's words, tell a buddy, bring a friend. See you next Monday.
That link to Hillary's meeting's in the chat.